information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not speed. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome, guys. The show is hashtag right here on VOP TV. My name is Vivian Oguche, and it's such a pleasure to have you join us. Now, if this is your first time, accept a very warm welcome from us. Now, this is where we're going to tell you all things trending and all things topical. And today, we are going to be taking a look at the 2027 general election. So, one of the hottest, should I say, one of the most talked about topical issues today is the Leadership Forum dumping the APC for the ADC. I'm talking about Yoruba Ronu Leadership Forum. It is a southwestern socio-political group. Now, we'll take a look at the very first post, and then the next, and then the next, and then I'll introduce my guest to you. Let's take a look at it now. It is hashtag 2027 general elections. So The Guardian has it, 2027 Yoruba Ronu withdraws support for APC, backs ADC. Daily Trust also has this one. Daily Trust says 2027 Leadership Forum dumps APC, endorses ADC. Vanguard also is jumping on this. So Vanguard is giving us a little bit of meat to this story. It says, declaring its resolve, the forum said it will no longer support the APC in any future elections, opting instead to align with the ADC, which it described as a credible alternative platform capable of challenging the ruling party's dominance. It further noted that the ADC has attracted several high-profile political figures, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi, a former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola, former Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, former Minister of Youth and Sports Solomon Dalong, a former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, and former Senate President David Mark, who currently serves as the party's national chairman. So credit goes to the Vanguard for that one. On that note, I introduce my guest to you. Guys, it is none other than the president of the much talked about Yoruba Ronu Leadership Forum. He is Aki Malaolu. Sir, it is such a pleasure to have you join us today. Welcome aboard. Can you unmute, sir? Can you unmute your device so we can hear you clearly? Just unmute the device. Can you hear me? Sir, if you can hear me, unmute your mic, your device, that, mic icon, that icon that looks like a mic, unmute it so that we can hear you clearly. All right, we'll quickly take a short break so we'll fix this. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we'll bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not speed. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
On Edge Dialogue, we bring you fresh ideas and conversations, shaping the future of learning in Nigeria and beyond.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns. Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, Live it with us. Catch us on the Locker Room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 2012, please discuss.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Mama Kore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from the Real Housewives of Lagos and the Real Housewives Ultimate Girl Trip Africa. Shout out to VOP, the voice of the people. You already know. Stay tuned, keep watching. And don't forget, VOP is the best.
All right, hello, it's a brother Shaggy, the man back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know why you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weights.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers, whatever, live it. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Ginny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back, everyone. And now the president, Yoruba Ronu Leadership Forum, Akim Malaolu, joins us. And I hope you can hear me clearly, sir. It's good to have you. Can you hear me, sir? Unmute your device, sir. We are good now. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, it seems like we're having the same problem all over again, and we might have to take another short break. We'll be right back.
In a world where power shifts its every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not speed. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
From the views on the streets,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries.
Welcome back, and this time I promise we've got it right. Sir, can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you very clearly.
This is me saying thank you, God. Thanks for coming aboard. It's a pleasure to have you. Apologies for all the difficulties. Can we hit the ground running now, shall we? Can you hear me, sir?
Can I go ahead?
Yes,
I can hear.
Yes, go ahead, go ahead. So I was going to say that if you want to address the people, you know, to say, I said welcome. I was thinking you were going to reply and all. But I just want for us to, you know, fire on. Your group, you have withdrawn your support for the APC and you are now rallying behind the ADC. Would you please tell us exactly your reasons for doing this?
I think when I was in school, I was taught the meaning of choice as a decision made after considering and rejecting other alternatives. APC has become an alternative to us at Yoruba Ronu, and we give reasons, clear reasons for dumping APC for ADC. And some of the reasons are the fact that there is economic downturn created by the president himself and his handlers. There are no longer employment opportunities in this country. The insecurity has crept into rural areas and affecting food security. To you, we all experience these killings every day. We may not think that we will not be affected, but I must tell you one thing, a menace to one is menace to all. And the president and his handlers who are around him are overwhelmed already. We cannot wait for promises that will not bring succor and redemption. So we have to look for alternative. And the alternative is African Democratic Congress. And the whole of Yoruba land will be advised to register into that forum and have their membership cards with the possibility of voting for that same party when election comes.
All right.
And it isn't easy for us to take that decision. We were with APC in 2014 when it was created. We played dominant role. In 2019, we were equally with APC when Buhari took his second term. We played dominant roles. But on before Buhari exited, there were crises in how he was managing the economy and even security, and spoke out that he should engage in self-glorification. So we are not embracing sentiments or emotions in whatever decisions we take. We are looking at the happiness or sadness of the Nigerian people. That is the key area that is most important. APC has not done well.
I do know that prior to this, announcement, in fact, in the last general elections, you worked for the LP, then Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi. This time around, it looks like you are still going to be in the same camp with Peter Obi alongside Atiku Abubakar and other, ADC chieftains. Now, in one of the publications, I don't know if you saw it when we were flashing the headlines, one of the publications, you said, when you were granting interviews, you said that this administration has become gangster-like. What do you mean by that, sir?
You see, when you are fed with propaganda and they want to force you to believe, like I will give you an instance. I saw in the news by Sunday Dari himself on Twitter that the GDP has grown. But the GDP was $585 billion in 2023, and they nosedived it to $183 billion in 2025. And they are now talking of growth where the government cannot dispense money for capital components of our budgets. That is a strange thing in any country. That means there's no money for capital projects. And once there's no money for capital projects, there will be no growth. We are talking of infrastructural development, for God's sake. Usually all the MDAs have not been given anything in 2025, even when they make promises through the National Assembly that the first quarter of 2026, they are going to give them money. They still cannot. There is no money from them. They are broke. The economy has collapsed. They can only pay a recurrent expenditure. That is a fact. Because if they are promising 216 to health ministry and you give them only 36 million naira, and the next thing they are doing is to do propaganda that was not what the minister said. But what did Tunjojo tell the National Assembly? How sad members of the National Assembly were when the MDAs were telling them it was released for capital components of their budgets. So how will the country grow? So what are we talking about? So why must we wait for a government that gives details of lies, and you want Yoruba Ronu Leadership Forum that is pro-people to continue to give a feedback to the people that they should hold on? This is not the time to hold on. The economy has collapsed, and the president is aware of it, his handlers are aware of it, and the economy collapsed 31st of January 2024. That is a fact. To follow them from May 29th, 2023, when the president wrote floating of the Naira by 100% and removal of subsidies. He removed subsidies not only from petrol, he removed subsidies from even education, from all phases of our life. And when you float the Naira, it's as if he did not look at the platforms for exports, for balance of trade, for industrialization, for energy, for employment opportunities. He just blindly did that, and the Naira nosedive from 400 and something to 1,500 and something, and they are telling us they are doing better. They are trying to marry them to a black market.
Okay,
I have education.
Can I come in here, sir? Because what you've just done is to criticize the president's economic policies, right? Not too long ago, we saw the World Bank come out to say that Nigeria, especially President Tinubu's economic policies, is a reference point that they're going to be telling other countries to come check out Nigeria. Prior to that, that happened this year. Prior to that, last year, the WTO DG, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, came out to say that President Tinubu's administration had stabilized the economy. So it looks like those, you know, over there are thinking things are working, but you're singing a totally different song.
You see, there were two issues that happened last year. WTO chairman Professor Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala spoke. Then the American embassy, American government spoke through their embassy that the economy is in shambles. What was Professor Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala saying at that time? She knew that the GDP nosedive from $5 billion to $183 billion in 2025. And that when we look at the bottomless pit where the GDP was at that time at 185, probably they rebased it to 300 and something by themselves. So to climb further to 585 has been most difficult. If they have climbed up to 585, they should be able to implement their capital budgets. That is just what America was saying, that the economy is in shambles. So whatever back front and back that the World Bank is doing, well, they are professionals. We are also professionals in our own area. We can all define the meaning of economics. We can define how to measure economic development, and economic development is measured by the various economic variables. If the variables are not growing, like employment opportunities, like hospitalization, like education is not stabilizing, we have so much of out-of-school children, we still have insecurity, and that is affecting rural population. And once it affects rural population,
Are you there, sir?
As I want to repeat, remain bogged down, to remain in the doldrum with a government that speaks only propaganda. I'm sorry to say that. The government has not been factual, has not been truthful in any way, virtually in everything that they have been doing. So why should we wait for them?
You've used the word propaganda like 2-3 times. It seems to be the main bone that you're picking with this administration. But I want to shift your focus a little bit. Let's talk about the ADC, the party you're supporting right now, yourself and your group. How bright is the future of the ADC, considering the fact that it is one of the major opposition parties right now, and it has lots of members with presidential ambitions? How well is the ADC prepared for 2027?
You see, the simple fact about human interactions is that in a struggle, they will seek for perfection and for happiness. Happiness first, then they move towards perfection. It's a dialectical process. And by the dialectical process, there will be struggle, war of attrition between thesis and the antithesis. The antithesis are represented by the ADC. The thesis are the APC. So the struggle is on. And what have we seen in ADC? We are seeing agglomeration of leaders, including obedience, diverse tribes from diverse ethnic origins coming together to acknowledge that there are difficulties and that this government APC is not ready to depart from propaganda. And I remember the minister himself, for information, once said that they are going to depart from dishing out propaganda. That was a statement which he made some months ago. But the point is, we can no longer wait for a government that cannot implement capital components of its budget. That is the most dangerous thing for anybody to ignore. Because how would there be employment opportunities? Are we to be living on what they call, they have given 9 million, 25. That is setting poverty as a way of life. It is not right. It is not right at all. The ADC is ready It's a complete platform ready to take on the challenge of doing the right thing. Because when our group had meeting with them on Tuesday, we outlined what we will want and what they have seen, and they were not. Yes, they agreed that these things are really clearly showing. And where the people are unhappy still, they will look for alternative. And ADC has provided the alternative. What the people are waiting for? What policies are you going to bring on ground? How are you going to drive your policies? What are the dangers that you have seen in the other party that is ruling presently? Those things are visibly there in the public domain. We cannot apply. You see, when a leader speaks, a leader should speak as an 100% citizen, not beholden to any tribe or religion. That is what Yoruba Ronu Leadership Forum represents. We will speak the truth. We don't want to know your tribe or religion.
Yeah, but a couple of things before we talk about His Excellency Rotimi Amechi, who seems to be trending online at the moment. But your group also said that they are rejecting the Electoral Act 2026. You also condemned the modus operandi of the just concluded chairmanship local government elections in the FCT and in Rivers State, as well as one other state. Now, would you touch on these topics, both of them a little bit, before we move on to something else?
Well, Rotimi Amechi has just like his party has spoken.
Yeah, before we talk about Rotimi Amechi, talk about your rejection of the Electoral Act 2026 and, of course, the problem you have with the just concluded local government elections.
At this stage, now that we have joined ADC, we will leave the ADC to take decisions on the Electoral Act.
And they've rejected it.
If they have rejected it, we have equally rejected it.
All right.
That is the truth.
So let's talk about the just concluded local government elections. Why are you so adamant about it? What exactly about it are you not happy with?
You see, in many electoral contests, the weapons should be decent and clean. We must move towards perfection. We may not get there. But when we are bogged down with this type of somebody declaring curfew when he has no right to do so, moving from one polling unit to the other, it made mess of democratic institution. What has that person got to do moving around from polling units to polling units?
That person being who? Are you referring to the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike? Is it the person you're
He has no right. He has no right. Even the governor of a state has no right to go around. He knows that. But you see, that's why I said we have a kind of gangster governance. That is the meaning of gangster governance. They don't give a damn at all. They do all things. They don't want to know the law. They are the law. And when the law is broken by the leaders who are expected to keep the law, like in the sociology of knowledge, they will tell you those who carried ammunitions to rob are using naked power. Similarly, those who abuse the law and are leaders and they are leaders are using naked powers. So how do you distinguish between a leader that is using naked power and armed robber that is carrying guns and robbing victims? That is what we are calling gangster governance. A government is supposed to enforce the law because it was the creation of the society. We put them there to make laws, to respect the laws, so that we can follow their footprints and their footsteps. They have not been doing that. Really, they have not been doing that.
All right, let's quickly talk about Rotimi Amechi. Like I told you, he's trending actually right now on social media, especially on X. And it has come to our knowledge that the ADC South-South coalition have thrown their support behind Rotimi Amechi to, clinch the ADC presidential ticket ahead 2027 general elections. Now, there's a post online. I'd like for us to take a look at the post before I play the video for you to take a listen to, and then we'll have your reactions. Let's take a look at the first post now. It is still hashtag 2027 general elections. ADC South leaders unanimously endorse Amechi for presidential ticket. Leaders from Nigeria's African Democratic Congress, I beg your pardon, in the South-South zone met in Benin City, Edo State on Friday and fully endorsed the former Transportation Minister, Chubeke Rotimi Amechi, for the party's 2027 presidential ticket. Chief John Odige Oyegun, ex-APC National Chairman, announced the decision, joined by figures like former governors Leo Imoke and Osaimen Osumbo. Amechi, who lost the 2023 APC primaries and has urged zoning and candidacy to the south, gains key support from this oil-rich region as primaries loom ahead of the February 2027 elections. There's a video, sir. Take a listen.
In the process, we are glad that our son, His Excellency Chibwike Amechi, took advantage of this meeting to brief us formally of his intentions to run for the presidency of our great nation. We were very pleased. We thank him for the respect he has for the leaders of the zone, for not letting loose in the zone, setting up his own personal structures, or for ensuring, like any good son, that he tells his people what he has in mind before he embarked on it. We were pleased, and I can report that a unanimous decision was taken to give him all the support that he needs in pursuit of his ambition. Lastly, we are going to meet regularly. This group of leaders regularly.
And that is John Odige Oyegun, former APC chairman. Netizens also responded to this particular video that's trending online right now like mad. And I got a couple of reactions, actually a microcosm of how this is playing out on X at the moment. Let's take a look at it now. The very first one now is coming from Timitokwe, who says, the same Amechi who was the campaign director general of Buhari for both campaigns in 2015 and 2019, how exactly would ADC sell him to Nigerian youths? I want this coalition to work, but it seems the fall of ADC would be worse than what PDP has been suffering since 2022 till date. And then Mudiaga says, good move. Chubike Rotimi Amechi has a track record of quality performances from 8 years Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly to 8 years as a Governor of Rivers State and his tenure as Minister for Transportation, which was the shining light of the PMB administration. That is according to Mudiaga. So this is how netizens are responding to this hashtag right now. What is your response to what John Odige Oyegun just announced about Rotimi Amechi's ambition and their support for his ambition?
A technocrat and a great leader. He spoke in simple language. His English was simple, transparent, and clear. And one person that it was the same person that said, we were gathered here and Rotimi Amechi took the opportunity to tell them that he is interested in the presidency, being somebody from the South-South region. I must confess something to you. If Peter Obi should approach them the same way to his from the Southeast, they will give similar support, because those that will give them the approval are the delegates through direct primary or through consensus. So everybody must try to engage in one campaign or the other. Rotimi has not done anything wrong. The South-South leaders who gathered at the presence of Chief Oyegun have not done anything wrong likewise. They did the right thing. They cannot snub their son. They will tell you, yes, we will support you. It is the same support that the North will tell Amechi. It is the same support the Southeast will tell Amechi, because they are all leaders leaders are supposed to see contestants as one. They are children, they are leaders, whichever way you want to put it. If he goes to the north, they will tell him the same thing. If Atiku comes to the south, they will tell him the same thing. But they have to get to the contest. It is in the contest that we emerge. So I don't see any endorsements clearly like that, because nobody has been endorsed as presidential candidate.
I mean, the ADC has come out to say that it is going to be a fair contest. So we keep our fingers crossed. Yes.
It has to be for the contest.
You know, you mentioned Peter Obi earlier on. Let's quickly talk about him, right? You remember how some days ago he was himself and Chief Oyegun, as well as some ADC chieftains, were attacked in Benin City, capital of Edo State. Now, the APC had blamed it on internal wrangling in the ADC, while the ADC is blaming it on the APC, the ruling party. But I'd like for us to quickly take a look at the post that Peter Obi put up before I have you react to this particular situation, right? What do you think it is all about? Peter Obi put up this post on X, and he was saying, thank you to Nigerians. He goes on to say, I am profoundly grateful to Nigerians from around the world for your prayers, calls, and solidarity following the incident at the ADC office in Benin yesterday. Now, this was, he put up this post a couple of days ago, just to give you context. He goes on to say, I especially appreciate your support during this difficult time for the family of the distinguished elder and former governor of Edo State, Chief John Oyegun, who has served Nigeria honorably in various capacities, as well as for another governor, Professor Sumbo. Your support has strengthened my faith in our shared humanity and our collective hope for a better Nigeria. My deep gratitude is reflected in my renewed commitment to serve and build our nation. So how would you react to the incident and Obi's, statement of gratitude to Nigerians home and abroad? Quickly, before we move on to something else.
So the governor wants Peter Obi to come to this. That is some of those things that we call gangster governance. I said this in our statements, that we have observed this gangster governance both at the federal, state, and local government levels. Because these things are clearly in the open. How can a governor who is supposed to protect citizens tell citizens how to crisscross or pass through his state, or to stop and have a night in any hotel or visit a relation?
I think exactly, sir, can I come in? The exact words of the governor of Edo State, Monday Opolo, to whom you're referring, his words were, before Peter Obi steps foot in Edo State, he must get security clearance, is what he said. Or else,
it is not done anywhere. So sorry, let me tell you, we are in a dangerous, they are moving Nigeria into the edge of the cliff. I don't see how 240 million Nigerians will watch this brigandage by the political leaders. We have never witnessed this before. I remember quite clearly that in 1982, during the time that NPN reigns, there was one of the leaders of NPN, I will keep his name out of the picture. He was proposing preventive detention for their opponents, particularly UPN. And that created some kind of crisis. They went into election. It was like not landslide, it was moonslide results that NPM posted. And that is what may happen in 2027 election if we are not vigilant. Now, shortly after that election, by January 1st, 1984, on a New Year day, the military struck. And that was the end of the Second Republic. We are going back to the same roots. Brigandage, gangster governance. We are Agberu. We tell you, particular tribes should not come out to vote. They will go and disrupt the functions, the ceremony of other parties. They don't have the right. Police, where we have this, and where we have leaders who are occupying democratic offices nationwide. they are pushing the country into further crisis, which, if it happens, they will be calling some people the anti-democratic forces, while they were the ones that were the anti-democratic forces. And I remember that article used that same word, that APC and their leaders are behaving like anti-democratic forces. True or false?
Can I
listeners will know the truth about that.
Can I come in here, sir? Is there a possibility that there might also be an angle of internal wrangling to it, that a group belonging to the ADC that's not particularly happy with another faction or another group might have struck? This is me just picking your brains and trying to figure this out from different angles. Is that possibility?
ADC, I don't see where ADC people have gathered throughout the country, where they had crisis to that monumental proportion amongst themselves.
So you're saying what the APC is saying is a non-starter. That's what you're saying.
You see, the details of lies cannot fly. We all have education, and education gives you better understanding. How they want to use their own understanding and education, that's their own kettle of fish. But there's always an end to every journey of rascality. That is what we are talking about. Right. They can give excuses, but when the end comes, I'm sorry.
All right, so let's quickly talk about something, as I got just very few minutes with you. Can we quickly talk about INEC and, of course, the ADC? INEC just revised, the schedule for the next general election. There's a post by INEC, and then there's a post by ADC via its spokesman, Bolaji Abdullahi. Let's quickly take a look at the post by INEC before we take a look at what Bolaji Abdullahi is saying. So INEC says the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has approved and issued a revised timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general election. The commission had earlier fixed Saturday, 20th February 2027 for the presidential and National Assembly elections, and Saturday, 6th March 2027 for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections pursuant to the Electoral Act 2022. Let's take a look at the next page now as I run through this quickly. The next page. So, following the repeal of the Electoral Act 2022, INEC continues to say, and the enactment of the Electoral Act 2026, which introduced adjustments to statutory timelines governing pre-election and electoral activities, the Commission has reviewed and realigned the schedule to ensure full compliance with the new legal framework. Accordingly, the Commission has resolved as follows. Presidential and National Assembly elections will now hold on Saturday, 16th January 2027. Governorship and state houses of assembly elections will now hold on Saturday, 6th February 2027. Sir, just before I pull up the post that the ADC put up through its spokesperson, people like Bashir Ahmed, once upon a time a digital media aide to the late President Muhammadu Buhari, had called on INEC. That was second week into this month, just shortly after the first timetable had come out, had called on INEC, that is it, saying that with respect, they should, shift or revise or take a look or reconsider the schedule because of the holy months of Ramadan, and that if it is not revised, that, the Muslim faithful will be affected. So INEC, it looks like, INEC took a look at this as well as other things, because it didn't mention this in, the statement they gave, but hey, Bashir is saying thank you to INEC for responding to their concerns. But take a look at what the ADC has said through Bolaji Abdullahi, their publicity secretary. Let's take a look at that one quickly. In fact, I'll just paraphrase, they are rejecting the revised timetable. That's Bolaji Abdullahi, who says the African Democratic Congress ADC rejects the updated 2026-2027 electoral timetable released by INEC. They are crying foul for want of time. I'm unable to read it out. You might just want to check it out for yourself. But what's your take, sir, in just 1 minute? How would you react to this as we wrap it up?
Rejection is acceptable. I concur to that rejection. Number one, Amokwito has behaved like somebody who is not even experienced to be in that position. Twice, he said one thing recently, that no election is perfect. That was a very wrong statement from an electoral umpire. Are we going to be having fake results and you tell us no election is perfect? What he is expected to be saying is that I will move the electoral election towards perfections. Not that no election is perfect. That was a bit of words.
All right.
From an independent person. So I reject whatever ADC has rejected. Since we have met with them, we equally reject them. So.
All right, so we keep our fingers crossed to see how INEC is going to be reacting to ADC's reaction and, of course, to your group's reaction now, because you just said you are rejecting, the revised timetable as well as the ADC. But I must say thank you so much, sir, for being so gracious. You honored this invitation on such short notice. I appreciate it, and I thank you for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners. I'm sorry for the break in transmission for your wife. The fault was free.
Thank you. That was you being gracious. It happens. This thing, when you're doing, stuff like this with technicalities, it happens. On that note, we'll wrap it up. I have been speaking with Aki Malaolu. He is the president, Yoruba Rono Leadership Forum. It is a Southwestern socio-political group. And of course, they are joining forces with the ADC against the APC. We'll keep our fingers crossed to see how that pans out in 2027. Before we go, a big thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success, but the bigger thanks goes to you for watching. If you liked it, keep a date again with us for another edition of Hashtags at same time, same station next week. Until then, I am Vivian Oguche. Bye for now.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living